love. My name is Gina Lee, and welcome to the first official episode of the Go Gina podcast. This podcast is something I have wanted to do for years, but I had been and still am a little bit. I'm not going to act like I'm completely cured from this, but I was really insecure of the way that people were going to perceive me, and I was terrified of what people would say and think of me. And over the past few years, I have done a lot of work on that, but I would definitely say over the past few months, I have really dove into trying to get out of that mindset and understand why am I so insecure and why do I care so much about other people's judgments. I know it's something that a lot of us really struggle with, which is why I wanted to kind of get this podcast episode out there and share what has helped me. That's anywhere from the things that I have done to kind of get out of that mindset, and also the thought processes that I go through whenever I am feeling really down on myself and like I should just conform to the judgments of others. That way I can live a comfortable, cushy life. I have a lot of talking points written down, which is why there might be a couple little cuts in this video. I hope they're not too distracting, but I am very new to this and I do love to talk, but I will get really off track. And this video could be 24 hours long if I just say you're going to talk. So I do have some talking points that I will look down at periodically. My first point is that if you let other people's judgments control you and control what you do with your life, you have no choice but to stay stagnant. What I mean by that is maybe you're living like me. This is more so based off of my own experience. I don't know if this is yours or not, but I live a somewhat comfortable life, right? I live a somewhat comfortable life. I have food, shelter, a car, and some people in my life that care about me, and I care about them deeply as well. But I've always felt like I was really missing something and that I was made for more. And if you feel that way, or you feel that I feel like I'm not just supposed to live this 9 to 5 life, or there is more out there for me, I want to reassure you that that is absolutely true. If you don't feel satisfied or fully fulfilled in the life that you are living, it is because you are not meant to live that life. That drive, the questioning you have about your life, that is for a reason. That did not come up into your life for no reason. You don't think those thoughts just because. I don't know. For me, I used to think that the thoughts that I was having about being stagnant in my life is like, well, this is just how everybody else lives, right? Everybody else lives this way, and I'm supposed to stay basically like a duck in a line. And I'm supposed to keep going that way because it's what everyone else is doing. And I don't want to step out of that line and look like an oddball or have people make fun of me or think that I'm crazy or that I'm trying too hard, whatever. I was always so scared of the things that people would say to me, whether they were to my face or behind my back. I was absolutely terrified of the way that people would perceive me. And while that fear is valid, because it is a really scary thing to kind of step out of the line and do your own thing, you shouldn't let it control you. Because if you let it control you, you may be on your deathbed at whatever age you're on your deathbed. I don't know. It's a fact of life. We're born and we die, right? So I think it's important to make use of the time that we have here. But what I was saying was, you may be on your deathbed, and I just am absolutely fucking terrified of looking back at my life and thinking, oh my God, I wasted all that time. I wasted so many days scrolling on my phone or taking criticism from people who didn't have the credentials to give it to me. I took all of that in and decided that I resonated with it, even though I didn't. And now I'm sitting here. I've wasted this entire precious, beautiful life of mine worrying about what other people think, and I achieved nothing that had any value to me. That absolutely terrifies me. And I know that's really dark and morbid, but I think that was one thing that really started to kind of kick my ass into gear a little bit, was thinking about, okay, if I were to die now or die tomorrow, what could I say about myself? Sure, that I worked hard, because I do work hard. I had these things, these material things, and I have people and friends that care about me, and those are all wonderful things to never take advantage of and to be endlessly grateful for. But like I was saying, there's a reason you want more. You're not wrong for wanting more. If you desire something, I believe that you can get it. There is a bridge there, though, that a lot of people don't like to talk about, and I think it's the reason a lot of people fall into deep depression when they're trying to achieve things, or they think that they could never achieve things, is because there is this bridge. And on both sides, you have you now and you where you want to be, right? So think about your life now and the things that you are doing versus the life that you want to achieve, right? There's a bridge. It's not a hop, a skip, and a jump. It's a bridge, right? So there's all these things that we need to do to get where we want to go. And I think the mistake that a lot of people make, and myself included, is that we assume that we can just want something and get there. We can just jump the bridge. No, sweetie, you have legs. You don't have wings. You have to walk across the bridge and go through all the trouble it takes and all of the time that it's going to take to get to the other side of the bridge and to achieve the thing that you're wanting to achieve. I, for so long, thought that if I just believe I can do something, it will fall in my lap. Laugh, laugh. That's funny. Um, it will fall in my lap, and that is just simply not how shit works. You can want and desire something for your entire life, but until you take the steps and break out of the boundaries and the kind of safety net that you've made for yourself, you're never going to get across the bridge. You might take a couple steps on it and be like, okay, I'm going to start doing this. You take a couple steps, and then you see the reality of the bridge and how treacherous part of the journey may be. I'm not saying it's all going to be that way. And a lot of times, even though the journey is hard to whatever you're trying to achieve, it is absolutely fucking beautiful. And you will learn so much about yourself and grow so much as a person. You could never dream of becoming the person on the other side of the bridge without truthfully going through with the journey. I know that was a lot of words, and kind of a weird way to put that, but that's just kind of how I view it because I have been stuck stagnant for a very, very long time and not looking to do anything with my life because I thought, okay, well, if I have money, I'll be happy. And I'm not saying I'm rich because I'm very, very, very far from that. But I thought that, okay, well, if I move out of my parents' house, I'll be happy, right? I'll be fulfilled. That's the biggest thing I want right now. And I moved out, and for like a week, maybe a week and a half, I was like, okay, I think I'm happy. I'm happy right now. I'm good. I feel fulfilled. I feel accomplished. And you should celebrate those little small accomplishments or big accomplishments, wherever that ranks on your scale is your scale. But you should absolutely celebrate those things because they are very important and big milestones in your life and jumps that you did have to take. But I thought, okay, I'll be happy. This is all that I'm meant for. I'm just meant to move out of my parents' house and maybe make art every now and then because I'm really into art. And like I said, that was very short lived. Okay. And then I thought, okay, well, what if I what if I were to get another apartment? You know, level up a little bit, get something nicer, something that I've always dreamed of, nicer than anywhere I've ever lived in my entire life, and it's all mine, and I absolutely love it. It's not to say that I don't love my apartment, it's great, and I'm so, so grateful to have it, but I still wasn't fulfilled. I still wasn't even close to being fulfilled. I was actually quite unfulfilled in the apartment, and I for the first portion of living where I am now, I felt incredibly empty in that apartment. And I thought, well, maybe it's just because of the space, and maybe it's just because the ceilings are high. But I really thought about it a little bit. It's like, I don't know if it's the apartment or because I'm terrified of being alone. And also, I'm empty on the inside. I feel incredibly empty. And like, I have not really been true to myself. And sure, maybe I've achieved the things that society wants me to achieve, but I haven't achieved the things that I want to do that maybe society says are a little bit crazy sometimes, or that only a select few people achieve them. I decided that I was going to try and work towards the things that I really want to do and stop letting other people and basically society and societal standards make my life for me. And that's a really, really big thing for me. So, in addition to being stagnant. I think I might have already said this, but you'll never be able to be your own person as long as you are eating up other people's judgments that they provide you with, right? I also want to mention that if you let other people judge you and you take that as a fact, I feel like when you internalize other people's judgments, it almost becomes one of your core beliefs about yourself. I have went through multiple phases of my life where someone has said something to me and it was really, really harsh and just basically a very nasty judgment on their part of my character. And I decided to take that in and to hold it and to make it a part of who I was. And as a result, I feel like when you do that, if you take other people's judgments and you accept them and make them a part of who you are, your actions will match. So if someone says something about you and you take it in and you're like, okay, I think this is part of who I am, your brain is going to not trick you, but accept that. And now you are going to become that judgment. You will be that type of person that you don't want to be if you listen to it, internalize it, and accept it. Basically, your brain, I don't know. I feel like my brain, for example, when people would say things about me, one eh, one specific example I can think of was about my art. I was trying to tattoo a couple years ago, and my tattoos were not great. They weren't great, right? They definitely were not great. But someone said to me that, basically that what I was doing was shit and that I was never going to really achieve anything with it and that I basically should just give up on it. And I was so fragile at the time that I accepted that. Not immediately. Immediately, I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I was like, I'm not going to take that and accept that. I was like, I'm going to keep tattooing and doing what I want to do. I was like, you cannot control who I am. And I thought I was just this big ball of fire. And I was, till you threw a little water on it. And that bitch was out. Now I'm a little more like an electrical fire, it takes a little more effort to put that fire out. But after that comment, I had been up until that point tattooing almost every day. And I was enjoying it and so enriched by it. And I loved learning about tattooing and tattoo artists and what all of that entails. And then I got that judgment from somebody. And I decided that he was right and that I should just give up on what the fuck I was doing. I was like, "No, you know what? He's right. He's right. I'm shit at this. I'm shit at this. I'm never going to be good at this. I'm never going to have enough money to get a tattoo apprenticeship like I wanted to at the time." I was like, "I should just throw in the towel and give up and find something else to fucking do." And for the longest time, and still even up until this point, I still miss it. I still miss it. I see tattoos and some of my friends are tattooing and I'm so fucking proud of them. I can't begin to say how proud of you guys I am. But I just drifted away from it and basically condemned myself to you'll never achieve that. You'll never achieve that. And I think that's so funny because now I look back on some of the tattoos that I've done and I'm actually still to this day really, really, really proud of them. And I want to carry that with me for as long as I can, maybe forever if I can, because I think it's good to be proud of yourself whenever you've done something that makes you feel that way. So if I had instead, I'm about to break this guy down. So if you're watching this for some reason you found my YouTube and you are the one who said that to me a few years ago or a couple years ago, whatever, I want you to know that first of all, you're an asshole for you know doing that to people and saying shit to people because you hate yourself. But second of all, I actually don't know if there's a second of all. I just want to say that you're kind of a jerk, but at the same time, I did learn a little bit from you, so I want to say that I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I had such a bottom feeding ass bitch talk shit to me and then came up from it. So thank you. I really do appreciate the mindset shift that I was able to acquire from that. And boy, oh boy, did it take a long motherfucking time for me to change my mindset about how I take in other people's judgments of myself. Okay. If at that time I had decided, you know what? I think I'm going to take a minute to look at where this judgment and criticism is coming from. Things would have ended up a lot differently. And that's actually where my next point comes from. I think it's super important to look at where people are at if they're projecting their judgments onto you, right? So if I had taken the time just to look at this person and see, okay, where's this person at? And I'm not talking about, oh, financially, what they look like, whatever. I'm talking about everything, everything. So even if they're rich as hell and maybe they're attractive, he wasn't, but maybe they're attractive and whatever. If there's some areas that they fall incredibly short in, which this person was clearly super, super insecure. I found that out a little bit later because there was some more stuff that happened with said person. But if I had taken the time to look at where this person was at and why maybe they're projecting that judgment onto you, it kind of shatters that judgment entirely, right? So let's say someone is bullying you online. It's a big thing nowadays where people love to talk shit on the internet and then won't say it to your face. I've had people do it to me all the time. I've even walked up to people every once in a while, I'll see someone who was talking a little shit and I'll be like, "Hey girl, what's good?" And you best believe that shit is sweet as soon as you walk up there because they don't have a fucking screen to hide behind, okay? If you look at where that person is at, you'll often find something in some area that they have fallen short on, right? And that's not to say that only insecure people or people who pass a lot of judgment fall short in areas. We all do. We all do. But what they are doing by passing that judgment and projecting it onto you, whatever that may be, is they are taking some of the weight of their own insecurities off of their back and giving it to somebody else because they can't handle it. They can't handle not being perfect. So they decided that, you know what? I'm going to bully people and judge people and project shit onto other people because I hate myself. That's why they're doing that shit. If I look at all of the people who have ever talked shit to me about the person that I am, it's because they are deeply conflicted in their beliefs and their beliefs about themselves. And they have to hurt other people to somehow feel better. When in reality, what that is doing to their psyche is just over time damaging them a little more. And that's why you have all these people on Reddit. Don't get me wrong, I fucking love Reddit. Reddit is my girl. I'd be going there for all the tea and all the conversations, whatever, and to like learn little tidbits of knowledge that I didn't know before. But there's a lot of bottom feeding ass bitches on there. A lot of people who go to Reddit just to talk shit and sit behind a screen eating fucking Fritos and not showering for 6 months. And then they're hating on, I don't know, a model, whatever, or anybody, someone who's really successful and maybe even in their bag a little bit. But I'm just more so talking about that they go to places to hate on other people because they fucking hate themselves. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Anytime someone passes a judgment on you, I want you to look at it and think about it deeply, right? Not in the sense that you're giving it to yourself, but think about where that judgment is coming from. Who is it coming from? Okay. So, are they in a place where their opinion or judgment should even matter to you? Right? Right? Whenever I thought about it that way and was like, okay, are they even a place where their opinion or judgment should even matter to me? That takes away, I would say, probably about 95% of the judgment you get from people, right? And the nasty things they say to you. I'm not talking about constructive criticism whenever I'm saying judgment. I really do just mean those harsh, kind of damning things that people say to you to make you feel like shit, okay? Are they in a place where that should matter to you? If someone's sitting here talking to you about how you spend your money, right? Well, you spend your money on this and all this shit, whatever, and they're sitting there with nothing because they waste all their money on stupid shit and they're judging you for buying something like, I don't know, let's say you want a telescope or let's say you want some cool new project or something to work on and they're judging you because you spent a lot of money in that one area. Whereas they have been spending, $5 every single day, multiple times a day on stupid little things that will never provide them any true joy. Should you trust their judgment? Should you? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that anyone who is projecting a harsh judgment on you usually has a good place to stand on for why they're doing it. Every once in a while, someone will offer criticism. And I personally don't like to take criticism unless it is constructive, right? Because I think that criticism that is not constructive and just really harsh and nasty is usually because, again, someone is going through something and they wanted to give it to somebody else instead of dealing it with themselves. Okay. However, constructive criticism, even if it's not given in the nicest way possible, I think is a beautiful thing. I don't think you should offer people constructive criticism unless they ask for it or you think it is absolutely truthfully necessary for that person. Just diving into that topic a little bit more, people project their own insecurities onto you so that they are not forced to face them. Yeah, it's a big thing that a lot of people do. Men do it, women do it, people in between do it. It doesn't matter what your gender or whatever you've got going on, sexuality, all that shit. Every group of people is going to do that. It is not just what's the word? It's not exclusive to just one group of people, okay? We have all done that at some point in our lives. I know that for me in high school, and if you knew me in high school, I'm really, 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 really sorry. I was a really terrible person in high school. And then my life fucking shattered into a million pieces. And I was so miserable and not well at all. And I wanted to, but I didn't. And I learned a lot. And I'm a totally different person than I was in high school. But if you knew me in high school, I'm sorry. Okay. I would talk shit about other girls' appearances sometimes, because I was so insecure about my own. I thought I was so, so ugly that whenever other people would talk about a girl being pretty, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, she's pretty, but like her nose is kind of weird." I'm tempted to insert a picture of what I look like in high school just so you can see that the proof is in the freaking pudding, okay? I looked like a little boy, like actually. I would go to track meets sometimes and they would think I was a dude. I'm not a dude, but I looked like a little guy in high school. Yeah, I was not that girl or nearly not a girl at all. But moral of the story is that I would project my own insecurities. That way I wouldn't have to deal with the insecurities that I had. I would just put them on other people and be like, "Oh, well, she's not perfect because she has this." As if anybody's fucking perfect, queen. Nobody's fucking perfect. None of us, not a single one of us are perfect. That is just not something that is true, okay? Nobody's perfect. And whenever we accept that and understand that, it is going to to allow us to give other people more grace and also ourselves. Another thing I want to discuss is the failure aspect of trying something new or stepping out of the box. Okay. It makes sense for us to, sorry, I have to fix my septum. It makes sense for us to fear failure, right? Because it means, well, quite frankly, that we failed. We didn't succeed at something. We fell back down to the ground, and maybe we sucked at something we tried. Maybe we were absolutely terrible at it, right? But I want to kind of shift your perspective a little bit on that and give you a little bit of an example for that. All right. Think about starting a new job or a new career. Whenever you go into that new job or career, if it's something you've never done it, it's not something you're familiar with. Sorry, word vomit. Um, and you go in there and you're working your first day and you're having to watch all these people around you do it correctly and you're just kind of observing and learning. You know that feeling underneath your skin when you just feel like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to mess something up here. And then they're going to fire me or I'm not going to be able to work here anymore. I don't know if you guys experience that, but I always would. And I would just be like, I don't know if I'm qualified for this. And I know I'm going to fail at this. And then what happens? Sometimes you're really, really good at the job and you get it right off the bat, right? But a lot of times we do fuck things up. We mess things up so many times, we're surprised that they don't fire us, right? But a good employer is going to understand that someone who's just started there and never been in that field before is going to make little mistakes or have little mishaps. And like I said, good employer, okay? So almost think of yourself as the employer, you can't expect yourself to know absolutely everything diving into a new topic career, maybe you're trying a new style of art, music, whatever you're wanting to do, anything that has to do with creation or doing something different, stepping out of your comfort zone, I would look at yourself and say, okay, I expect you to try your best, but I understand if you mess this up because you are going to. You are going to mess things up. You're going to look at things maybe years down the road and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that on my first day. But you know what? It was your first day. You just started. You can't expect to be perfect at something when you're first trying it. That's something that I have really, really struggled with. And something that has, I guess, hindered me in trying new things is because I think about, okay, I really want to try this, but I know I'm going to suck at it first. And I don't want to have to go through that process of being terrible at it to get the skills that I want. And like I was talking about earlier, that's crossing the bridge. So that first part of the bridge and multiple parts throughout it, but that first part of the bridge, you're not going to be able to see shit. It's going to be like that path has never been walked through. It's never been cleared out and it's super foggy and you're like, "Oh my god, you're just walking through the fog and you're fucking terrified that maybe you're going to fall off the bridge, whatever." And you might fall off the bridge, but if you keep going, that means you caught yourself and you got back up, okay? I don't think that letting failure run your life will ever benefit you. There is no physical way that fearing failure and succumbing to that fact that you fear it, that's not going to help you. I think personally that failure is a absolutely beautiful part of the human experience that we have. If you were to grow up and just be absolutely phenomenal at everything you tried from the jump, like you never messed it up, I don't think that you would attribute as much value to the things that you succeed at because you were just so damn good from the first try. I think that failure gives us a backbone and allows us to grow and be like, okay, I tried this, I messed this up, and I learned. I learned what I have to do now. I learned that this way doesn't work and this way does. And that's going to happen the entire journey. And that's a fucking wonderful thing. But the important part is not to give up whenever you start and you do mess up and you're like, oh my God, that was so stupid. How did I do that? Keep going. Get up and keep going because if you do, you will learn. You will learn. You most likely won't make the same mistakes again. And if you do, they won't be to the same capacity, which I think is a wonderful thing. I know for me and a lot of the things I've done in my life, whenever I would mess things up, I would be so hard on myself. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm such a failure. I don't know why I try anything new because I just fucking suck at everything. And then you know what? When I would pick myself back up from those things and just get my ass back in gear and keep going, I would I would find so much courage the next time I was thrown a curveball, which I think is an absolutely beautiful thing. And failure is not something to fear. It is inevitable. You're going to fail. You're going to fuck up. And you should be prepared for it, but not terrified of it. You should welcome it whenever you hit the bump and you fall, whatever, and break your leg, whatever you're doing on your little bridge journey, you know, you should you should take it and learn from it and learn that it's okay to fuck up. It's okay to fail. If you didn't fail, you wouldn't be human. You wouldn't be here. It's also important to mention that people are going to judge you really hard whenever you do fail at something, right? So whenever you do stumble and you fall and you fuck something up, maybe you've had a really good run so far, all of a sudden you tumble over and oh my god, you look like a mess. Okay? You look like a disaster. But that's to be expected, of course. People are going to be harsh on you during those times. So it's important to think about, okay, this judgment is coming from someone who's, well, never been across the bridge. They've only stayed on the other side. So of course they can talk shit about what the bridge actually looks like because they've never been there. They've never tried to go over the bridge. They stand on the other side and they watch people go until they can't see them anymore. And after that, obviously that person is much closer to their dreams, but they watch them till they can't see anymore. And they watch them fall. And they watch them fuck up. And they sit there and they point and they laugh. But you know what? Those people are never going over that fucking bridge. You're going over that bridge because you have the desire, the ambition, the drive, and the imagination for what you want to do. The other people sitting there laughing at you, They're going to live their little cushy 9 to 5 lives, barely making it financially and hating their lives on the inside. They might seem happy on the outside, but a lot of those people who sit there and bully people just fucking hate themselves entirely. Speaking from someone who used to, I don't know if bully is the right word. I wasn't outward with it. I would just bully people behind doors, right? So, like, I would say nasty shit about people and I wouldn't say it to their face. Why? Because I was a pussy. Hey, what's good about that? Yeah, I was a total pussy. So I wouldn't say it to their face. I would say it behind doors and be like, oh, whatever. Thinking that it affected their day. What a joke. That's fucking funny, Queen. Miserable people hate people with desire and drive. Okay. I think it's a big thing whenever you are trying something new or going towards a new goal, right? And you have someone who's just on you and they're just being so nasty towards you about what you're trying to do, right? Because they believe that they couldn't do it. Maybe they could do it if they put the work in and they put their mind to it, they probably could. But they have decided as their core belief that they can't do it. So what are they going to do? They're going to hate on you. They're going to hate on you. They're going to hate on your desire, on your drive. They're going to tell you that you're fucking crazy for whatever you're doing. And that is some sad shit. I'll go ahead and say that right now. But they hate people with that kind of grit and the want to be better and the want to achieve because they can't do it. They have already told themselves they can't do it, so they don't understand why could you do it? Why could you do it and I couldn't do it? What is the reasoning behind that? They don't see the journey. They just see you maybe achieving things and they're like, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I want that and I can't have that. So it's time to damn you and bring you down because I couldn't do it. So you can't either." I think it's a big thing too that people, like I was saying earlier, people project their own insecurities, but it's something where they have decided if it's a specific topic like tattooing or whatever, like I was talking about earlier, or podcasting, YouTube, whatever, those are things that are very prevalent in my life that I really like to do. But you will have people hate on you or damn you or discourage you because they don't believe that they can do it. They have already decided that it is not meant for them, or maybe they haven't decided it's not meant for them. They have decided that even maybe though it is meant for them, they will never put in the work. They will never step out of the box because they're scared to. They're scared of what other people are going to say about them. So they're going to discourage you and hurt you and try to break you down to bring you back to the start of the bridge. They're going to throw rocks and fucking sticks and try to break your back until you are crawling back to the beginning of the bridge. You just got to dodge them. Okay, you got to dodge them. You got to move out of the way. Or if you do get hit by one, put on a band-aid and get the fuck back up and keep going across the bridge because they're going to hate the whole way for whatever you're doing. If you are not living in the societal standard or whatever that may be, maybe it's the way your appearance is, the way you eat, your body, the way your career works, how you do art, your passions, whatever, the way you conversate, they're going to hate. People are going to judge you. It is not something you can escape. It is something you have to accept. Nobody can see the inside of your brain, right? Only you know what's truthfully going on up there. Only you can see the path that you want to take and the actions that you need to take to get there. What people see, and part of the reason they judge you is the exterior, right? They see maybe a little bit of the journey and they decide to judge it and condemn it immediately, right? Because they don't see everything that you have planned and everything you've been through to get you to this point. They don't know you. Why listen to other people's judgments when they don't know you fully? No one on this planet knows you as well as you know yourself. It is just a fact, okay? Even if you feel like, I don't know myself, it's because you're not leaning into yourself. You're not leaning into yourself and trusting yourself, which is a big part of letting go of judgment, is learning how to trust yourself. I'll actually make a podcast episode about that specifically, but they only see the outside, the exterior, and they don't see the drive and the ambition and what it's going to take to get there because they don't have it. They might see a little bit of it. They might see that you're determined and hardworking, but they're not going to see the full picture because the only person that can see that is you. You are the only one who knows what you have to do and the steps that you have to take to achieve your goals. Why let somebody else stop you when they have their own journey ahead of them that they're not leaning into. You're leaning into your journey. So don't ever for a second let someone's judgments control you. It doesn't matter what other people say about you. It matters what you think of you. You don't have to take that shit to heart. Nobody is telling you you have to take it to heart. Even if people are telling you you have to take this to heart, or this is my opinion and it's the right opinion and you should take that in with you and you need to listen to what I'm saying. Fuck you. Don't do that. Not actually fuck you. I love you. But fuck that. Fuck that. Don't listen to that shit. They want to discourage you because, like I was saying, they can't do it. So they're assuming that you can't do it. They don't see everything around you and what you have had to go through to get where you're at and where you were going to go. You see the journey. You have the drive. You have the ambition. Use it. Don't use the bullshit that other people are giving you or throwing onto you. Wipe that shit off. Get up and go for it because it is made for you. If you want it and you are willing to put in the work to achieve what you want, that shit is made for you. It's handmade for you. And you have to mold it a little bit and shape it to your life and your experiences. But you can get there if you just fucking go for it and stop listening to the judgments that other people are covering you in. I want to close this out by saying a little bit more about this podcast because, like I was saying in the beginning, I was really terrified to do this and what people would think about me and what people would say. But I want this podcast to be about growing and living your most authentic life. And I thought it was really, really important to share this specific piece with you guys because this thought process and change in my mindset is the only thing that got me to do this podcast today. It is the only thing that got me off my ass and gave me the confidence to speak freely. And I want to continue to share with you guys how I am living the most authentically that I can. And I want to share the thought processes and the mindset shifts that I come across with you all so that you can do it with me. And so that we can live our most authentic lives and be true to ourselves and be so fucking human that it's sickening, but in the most beautiful way possible. Speaking of beautiful, you are a beautiful person and I love you so much and I hope you have a great day. If you've got any topics you'd like for me to discuss in the comments, please share them and I would be happy to talk about them. I love you and you are amazing and you can do this. Thank you. Bye.